Hey there, thanks for joining me for another Teacher Tech Tip. This is the third part of a series for tips that can help teachers as they teach from home during COVID-19, so feel free to check out the previous two videos to learn how to install OBS and use a green screen to up your streaming game. Those will show you all the skills you'll need for today's video, which is adding another tool to your remote teaching toolbox and a personal favorite of mine, the document camera. More specifically, a desk camera, so that your students can see what you are writing. This makes your streams way more accessible since you can show work, give visual prompts, or use different types of visuals and manipulatives to make your lesson content even more tangible to your students. On Amazon, there are solutions out there, but $80 is a lot to ask for something like a document camera. Today, you're going to learn how to use any old webcam to do this in a really cool way. If you're looking for a cheap webcam that will do an amazing job, this is the one I'm using, and I'll make sure to add a link to it in the description as well. Today's tip will be short and sweet, and in the end, you'll have a scene in your broadcast software that looks like this, making it very easy for you to do demonstrations for your students, even when you're remote. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the tutorial. Alright, here we are in OBS Studio, which is where we're going to be adding a scene for our desk cam and setting up all the configuration, making it look just the way we want. If this doesn't look familiar to you and you're wondering what OBS is, no problem at all. Go back to our first video. It talks about how to install OBS. It's totally free, how you can make your first two scenes, and some of the ways that OBS will be completely worth it and change your live streaming for remote learning forever. So OBS is awesome. I highly recommend. If you don't recognize what you're seeing on your screen right now, go back to that first video. It'll take about 15 minutes and you'll be all caught up with us. If you do know and you're ready to go with this document camera, then excellent. Let's check this out. So I've got all of my different scenes down here, but I'm going to add a fresh one so that we can do this as if I had never done it before. So I'm going to add a new scene. I'm going to call it Desk Cam 2 because I already have a desk cam, but you can name it whatever you want. And here we go. We've got a blank canvas for our screen, which is awesome. So we're going to have two sources that we need to add here because there's going to be two things that we're trying to show on our Zoom. The first one is going to be our face. So we're going to go down here into your sources, make sure you have that scene selected, but you're going to go down here into your sources. Then you're going to come up here to video capture device. That's like a webcam. And I've already added these to other scenes. You might need to add a new one if you haven't done this yet, but I've added these to other scenes. So I'm going to add my full HD webcam here because I know that that's my camera, and here we go. Now already I've got my face into this scene, which is a good start. But that's not it. The whole point of this tutorial is the desk cam. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add a video capture device. And now what you'll do is you'll probably need to create a new one because you haven't set this, you haven't initialized this camera yet. So you'll have to click create new, and then you're going to choose the video device that it's using. However, since I've already done this, it's not going to show for me. So instead, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add the one that I already have. So I'm going to click here, video capture device, and I know that that one is called Logitech. So I'm going to add that in here, and my Logitech camera, now I've got both of my sources here at the same time. So you can see my hands, what they're up to, and we can also see my face so students can lip read if they need to, or just see, you know, my mannerisms, what's going on. So I'm going to make my face a little smaller here, and I'm going to make my screen share way bigger, and you can see my screen share, since I added it second, it actually is covering up my face. That's an easy fix. You just need to drag the camera that your face is from so that it's on top. Oops, I double clicked. You need to drag it so that it's on top. And now my face is in front of this video, and you can see, you know, I've got my mannerisms going down here and then also up here. So these are both happening simultaneously, which is super cool. Now, this is pretty good so far. My students can see what I'm doing if I'm running a science experiment, if I want to show handwriting. But you'll notice as I start writing on this board, I write my equation, and it's pretty good. You can tell what I did, and then if you grabbed the board, flipped it, and showed it to your students, obviously that's fine. But I want it to be even a little bit more convenient for myself rather than having to flip that board over every time. So If we do some clever manipulation with this, we can actually make it more like your students are looking over your shoulder. So first thing I'm going to do is flip this vertically. So I'm going to drag it all the way down so that it starts growing like this. Now it's upside down. This seems a little bit crazy at first, but bear with me. So I flipped it upside down, and let's try that again. Now I write 2 + 2 = 4. And we're getting somewhere. It's right side up, but it's still backwards. So just like we did with flipping it upside down, we're going to go ahead and grab the side this time and flip it all the way through. Just like that. Make it nice and big to the size that we want and put it where we want it to be. I'll center that a little bit. And now it's awesome because they're seeing it from your exact perspective, upside down and flipped from where the camera is. So as I write, it's going to come out the correct way for your students. So it's almost like they're looking at it from your exact perspective, which is pretty cool because now you don't have to be flipping it all the time. You can just show it exactly like this. So that's pretty much it. We've got a scene here that's showing our document camera. You can display whatever objects and manipulatives you have, open up a textbook page, whatever you want to show to your students without holding it up to your main camera, you can now do with your document camera. I've gone a couple of extra steps and, added a hotkey so that I can quickly switch back and forth between my different camera views, and that's something that I talk about in the first and second videos of this video series, so I'm not going to go too far into detail here, but that pretty much gets you where you need to go. So let's jump back over to the other view here and finish this tutorial up. That's about it. You should be all ready to go with your new desk cam and making accessible demonstrations of all kinds for your class. Don't forget to check out Rocket Reads, our literacy assessment tool that will save you tons of time and provide you with tons of data, whether you're in school or teaching remotely. We're launching in the next few days, so you can be one of the first teachers to use our voice-powered literacy assessment to get meaningful data about your kids' reading habits. If you have questions or ideas for a future tech tip, we'd love to hear from you in the comments, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But we hope you found today's video helpful, and we'll be back soon with another teacher tech tip.